Hey, everybody, welcome. Welcome to Thursday. Oh my gosh, this is going like this, right? It's really so fast, and I'm excited about everything we've been doing together, everything we've been learning. So come on in and let's talk today. Let's talk today. So I hope you're having a good week. I want to first say, and I said this yesterday, but it's just so true. For those of you who are still in the game, I am massively impressed. And the reason I say that is, we all know how easy it is on day one or day two, to be enthusiastic. But it really takes commitment to go beyond that, to go beyond that and to show up on Thursday, to show up on Friday, to really continue to lean into it. But that's what it takes to be a successful business owner, right? That's what it really takes. And because on day four you might not be as excited. You might not be as excited, and you might be thinking, oh, I'm busy, I'll catch the replay, blah 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 blah, right? But you guys are here, so good for you. And if you're watching the replay, that counts too. So high five. All right, high five. So the thing that we're going to talk about today is resistance, and this is kind of a tough love kind of topic. So I just want to give you the warning, the wave, the warning flag about it. And I do want to make sure everybody knows about the VIP experience. I see a lot of my VIPers are here right now. So when you sign up, so there's this thing called the VIP experience, and you might have seen it in a post in the Facebook group. You might have seen it in an email, and I want to make sure you know what it is so you can jump in if this is for you. So the VIP experience is to take what we're doing here next level. And what you'll get when you sign up for the VIP experience, and this is the URL right here, is you will get an hour of coaching, small group coaching with me every afternoon at 2:00. So there's still time to jump in. There's still a lot of time to get value for sure from the sessions. Okay. You're also going to have the replays for 90 days, the replays of all the sessions. Otherwise, they go away on November 14th. Okay. November 14th, next week. All right. Good. Good. So sign up there if you're interested, and you'll be able to jump in. So hello to everybody. So let's see who's here. Laura's here. She says, wow, 8 inches of snow this morning in Colorado. I love snow. I love snow so much. Stephanie's here. Hello. And Natalie and Vonnie. Hello. Mary Reed is here. Hello. I think Mary just signed up for VA school, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations. That's so exciting. Lilia is here. Tony, Stephanie is here. Good morning. Making that commitment. Yes. Good. Angie is here. And Tiffany and Sabrina. Excellent. Mary says, yes, ma'am. Nervous. Good. You jumped in. That's awesome. So for those of you who don't know, VA School is my 9-month signature program. We're going to talk all about it at noon today. We're going to learn the success systems that you need to run your business. And then I'm going to talk about how I can help you with that success, and VA School is how I can do that. So we're definitely going to talk about that today. So hello, everybody coming in. Hello. All right. Yeah. So Tony says, I gamify it to myself in my head. I do that too. Like, I think I know what you mean, where it's like, okay, how am I going to make these commitments? So good for you. Good. And Julie's here for day 4. And Gisella's here, and Christina and Janina and Penny. Hello. Okay. Good. All right. So that is the Scooperoonie when it comes to the VIP experience. Now, I want to talk about something that was a harsh realization for me as I was rebuilding my life. And this can be kind of a hard pill to swallow. So I'm giving you the warning here. But the faster that you realize this, the faster you can make a change in your life. Okay. And I don't even like to say this out loud because it sounds terrible, but it's also the thing and the realization that helped me. It didn't help. It more than helped me. It like kind of put its foot on my back. Like, let's go. So here it is. Are you ready? No one's coming. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to take responsibility for your dreams. No one is coming to start your business, that you're telling me that you want. No one has ever been coming. And I spent a lot of time waiting for someone to come. And the deal is that your life is your responsibility. And the reason it's a hard pill to swallow is because for many of us, I spent years waiting, and I was trying, not only was I waiting, I was trying to make the life that I wanted to happen on someone else's terms, right? Like I just always felt like there were these boundaries around me, like I could only do things in certain constraints, and it stopped me. It absolutely stopped me. And so for me, the realization that no one is coming once I finally settled into it was really good news, because then I thought, oh, I don't have to I don't have to rely on anybody else. I don't have to wait for them. What I do doesn't depend on what someone else is doing. And once I accepted that, it was awesome, right? It was totally awesome. So you can continue, to hope and dream that things are going to be different, but the only thing that will make that happen is when you work for it. Now, you can't change your past. You can't change your past, but you can grab hold of today. And you can make a change, and that's the opportunity that's in front of you today. And it might be scary for you. I was scared by this for a very long time, and I resisted it. And we're going to talk specifically about resistance. And the only reason to be scared, looking back at everything that I've learned, the only reason to be scared is if you're not doing the work to get what you want in your life. If you're stuck, if you're not moving, that's a reason to be scared, because that's a big deal. Because that's just either going to keep you in the same place, or probably, we're always either going like this or like this. And it's very slight. But if you're like this, just the tiniest little bit, that's where it's going. Right. And so you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep that in mind. So first, what I want to do is I want to recap the week. All right. And then we're going to dive into this topic a little bit more. I just want to look at the questions for a moment. All right. Hello, hello, hello. No one has come. I know. Good. Okay. Ella, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in study hall. I see your question, but we'll talk about that in study hall. All right. So what I want to do is I want to recap. I want to recap this week. All right. So on Monday, we talked about your services. Many of you identified services that you could offer right now, right? And you put them in the chat. You put them in your workbook. If you don't have your workbook, we'll definitely get that to you. But this is what that looks like. Okay. So on Monday, and I think a lot of you likely thought going in that you have nothing to offer, right? And so here's the other thing. Some of you might still think you have nothing to offer. And if that's you, that is a sign that you have some work to do in the mindset area around the skills and services you have, all right? Because I know that you have something to offer. Now, Tuesday, we learned about how to talk about your work and how important it is to practice. Right. And if you're not doing that, if you're waiting around, if you're telling yourself you don't need to practice, that's a sign that you have some mindset work to do. All right. Now, yesterday, we talked about telling people about your business, and I'm sure that some of you are resisting this idea. That's another sign of mindset work that needs to be done. Okay. Now, we all had this. I've had all of this. The difference is that I worked my way through it. Right? Another way to talk about this is resistance. We all have resistance. So let me give you some examples. Have you ever quit a diet? Right? I've done this. Have you ever paid for a gym membership and then you really never go? Right? Have you bought a computer program and, or you're going to learn something new, you buy, and you never do it? Right? Have you ever wanted, this is a big one. I hear this from people all the time. Have you ever wanted to change your career and continue to do absolutely nothing about it but complain, right? And if you have done any of those and so many other things, that's, what resistance is, because resistance is what stopped you, right? It's resistance. And I read in this book, this is a really great book. It's called I always say The Art of War, The War of Art. It's a book that's written by Stephen Pressfield, and it was written for artists and creatives, but man, I got to tell you, it totally resonates It totally resonates with entrepreneurs, which is what you are when you start your business. And so I want to tell you a little bit about what he said. He says that resistance is the most toxic force on the planet, right? It's the most toxic force on the planet. And he goes further and he says, and I love this, it's so funny in a way, it's faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and harder to kick than crack cocaine. We become addicted to it, right? Because it keeps us safe. And here's the biggest problem, all right? And first I want you to know, if you've been like mowed down by resistance, you're not alone. It's happened to millions and millions of people. But here's the biggest problem with resistance. We either act like it doesn't exist, or we ignore it. We ignore it. Okay. So we have to learn to see it in us, and then we need to treat it as an enemy. All right. Because, and I know that sounds really dramatic, but this is what he talks about in the book. And the thing is the reason we think about it as the enemy, there's no confusion about what enemy means, right? Enemy is the thing that's getting in the way of what you want. There's no confusion. And so I love his clarity in talking about it in that way. And then he talks about the Dalai Lama. Okay. There is a quote from the Dalai Lama that puts this into perspective, because so now you're in the ring with your enemy, and the enemy is keeping you from going where you want to go. So what he said, the Dalai Lama said, which I love, he says the enemy is a very good teacher. Think about that for a second. The enemy is a very good teacher. So what that means is that we can learn to recognize resistance, and then we can change how we react to it. So the secret to this whole thing is awareness. It's awareness. Now, I want to tell you some things about resistance that you may or may not know. Okay? Resistance is invisible. It can't be seen or heard, but it can be felt. How many of you have felt resistance? Right? It's damaging, and it distracts us from doing our work. And I hear people using phrases pretty often that get in the way. They'll say, oh, I can't do that. I'm an introvert. That's resistance. Oh, I can't. Or, you can do whatever you want. It's a matter of choice. And the resistance is what's telling you don't have a choice, and you got to knock it off. Now, I'm going to tell you more about it, and then we're going to talk about how you can solve this. All right. Because it's not going away. I have resistance every single day. The difference is, I look at it and I sort of separate myself and I go, oh, that's resistance. What am I going to do about that? Right? I don't ignore it. I don't let it lie to me, and I don't believe it. Right? So the other thing is, resistance seems to come outside of us. It seems to come in the form of jobs, kids, spouses, emergencies, drama, all the things. But here's the deal. We generate it ourselves. We generate it ourselves, because you can look at any circumstance, and you can look at any circumstance and you can assign multiple meanings to it, right? You can absolutely do that. Now, every single person on the planet struggles with resistance, and it's always there. Now, here was something, when I heard this, I thought, oh my gosh, it's fueled by fear. Resistance is fueled by fear. And this is important, because if we master that fear, we conquer the resistance. So there's a path, right? There's definitely a path. And resistance is the excuses you tell yourself about why you can't do something. Resistance is the excuses you tell yourself about why you can't do something. It goes back to that, arguing for your limitations, and sure enough, they're yours, right? If you argue like, I can't, then you can't. Now, if you feel paralyzed by fear, that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign, because fear tells us what we need to do. The more afraid we are, the more important the thing is that how do I say this? So if the more afraid you are, the more important the thing is you're afraid of, right? If you're really afraid of growing your own business, then it must be pretty important to you, because things that we're not afraid of are usually not that important to us. All right. So I want to talk about things to know about this when starting a business, because I know that that's where you guys are, right? So now we're going to talk about mindset around resistance. Okay. To be a successful in business, we need to assume the role of a professional. right? Just like we do when we have a job, right? So here are some of the traits of a professional. And I think this is going to be one of those big aha moments where you're like, oh, okay. So you have a job, you show up every day, right? You show up to work, and maybe you're just showing up because you don't want to get fired or you just need the money, right? But you show up. And we show up no matter what, right? We don't wake up in the morning and say, am I going to go to work? Am I not going to go to work? And it could be for a number of reasons. Maybe we don't want to let our coworkers down, or maybe something way less noble, but that's okay. We still show up. I got to go to work, right? I got to go to work. We stay there until we're done, right? So our minds might wander, but when the phone rings, we pick it up. If someone emails us, we answer it. And when we don't go home until like our shift is over, our day is over, whatever the signal is that we're done. And here's the other thing. This is huge. We're committed for the long haul, right? So we might take another job, or we might get promoted, or we might work for a different company, but we know that we're going to be working unless we win the lottery, right? And we've accepted it. We might not like it, but we've accepted it. We're going to work. The other thing, which is interesting, is that we accept payment for our labor. We're not here for fun. We're actually working for money. And we master what we need to master to do the work, right? So the thing that's interesting about this is that, so this all makes sense, right? This is all make sense, right? This is how we manage our work life. Okay. So consider the flip side. So this is the amateur. All right. This is the amateur. They don't take their endeavor seriously. And this is what happens when new business owners are trying to get started. They don't lean into it as a professional. They show up as an amateur. So they don't show up every day. They don't show up no matter what. They work when they feel like it. And there's a million reasons why. And here are some that I hear and that we tell ourselves. It's really busy right now. My kids are home for break. I don't have time. I'll do it I'll do it tomorrow. It's summer. It's fall. It's winter. It's the holidays. Fill in the blank. All resistance. It's all resistance, right? And it's not going to work. You've got to keep having your business on your radar, and you must adopt the mindset of a professional. To be accomplished as a professional, there's some other things that you need. You need to build a support system. You need to build a support system. You need to set goals with deadlines, right? You need accountability. You need to take your business seriously, and you need to keep your word to yourself. And a professional doesn't make promises to themselves at 10 o'clock at night and forget about them by 8 a.m., right? This isn't about willpower. This is about courage. And you've all got courage. I know you do. And you know that you do. Jobs provide a lot of this structure. But when you own a business, you have to put these support systems in place. And, I got help when I was starting my business. And the result was that I built a VA business that created over $100,000 for 10 years in a row. And I want to help you do that too, whether your goal is $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $8,000 a month. I want to help you do that. So the first step in conquering your resistance is to notice where it is in your life. We all have it, but you got to notice it. And, it's likely that you're so used to believing what it's telling you that you just keep going along with it, but you can't let it win. You can't let it win. You need to listen to what you say, and you need to notice how you spend your time. Your words and actions are going to show you what's in the way. And here's the good news about this. There's a solution. There is a way to claim your success as a business owner. And this week, I've given you the first steps on your path. And probably for the first time, it actually makes sense. I've heard that from a lot of you. We're not talking in circles. I'm not confusing you. I'm making it very simple because I want your dreams to come true, right? And so do you. Now, we have a lot ahead of us today. Let me tell you what you can expect, all right? At noon in about, I can't do backwards math, you guys. What is that? 38 minutes. Okay. 38 minutes. We're going to have training number 4. And I'm going to talk about the success systems you need to run your business day to day. And I'm going to tell you all about my 9-month program, VA School. I'm very excited to share all the details with you. We're going to have our VIP experience at 2 o'clock. We're going to have our group surprise session where we give away all kinds of prizes at 3 o'clock. So set an alarm on your phone. All right. That's what I just had, my alarm to remind me to get ready. Okay. I'll see you in however many minutes that is, 38 minutes. Yeah, so take this in. Think about this. Think about resistance. Think about where it shows up in your life and how it's keeping you small, and start to lean into those feelings so that you can conquer them. All right. And I'm here to help you do that. All right. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.